Welcome to Cass Connects, the podcast where business leaders, innovators, and industry experts come together to share ideas, insights, and strategies shaping the future of business. Here's your host, Teresa Mears.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Cass Connects. Today, I am with Eric Giering, who is the president of Cass Bank. I am Teresa Mears, the Chief Revenue Officer for Cass Information Systems, where we do transportation and facilities expense management, but we also have our bank as a subsidiary. And you've probably heard us mention that on a few topics of discussion. So I'm very happy to welcome Eric today to have a discussion about Cass Bank, how that separates or makes us different in the industry, and have a conversation about what that opportunity brings to our clients or to our vendors that we pay. So, hi, Eric. Welcome.
Great. Hi, Teresa. Good to see you again. As Teresa said, I'm Eric Giering. I am the President and Chief Operating Officer of Cass Commercial Bank. We're a St. Louis-based entity that's been around for about 120 years, so we kind of know our business.
Yep. And this is our 120th year this year, right?
It is.
So,
It
big
is.
celebration. Yeah. That's exciting. I mean, a 120-year-old bank, and obviously the name came from, if I'm not mistaken, the street that it was opened on, right?
Yes, it was opened on Cass Avenue back in 1906.
Right. Well, that's a very long history, and we definitely have a lot of experience under our belt. So, can you kind of talk about like what Cass Commercial Bank is? Because it's not your typical bank that you think of. So,
It is not. So we are a St. Louis-based bank, but we have lines of business that cover the whole country, literally from coast to coast, Seattle to Miami and Boston to LA. We have a very strong commercial and industrial lending program. We have a faith-based lending program. We have equipment finance, and we have franchise lending. Cass is unique in the fact that it is a commercial-only bank. So we don't get mired down in branch operations or consumer accounts or things like that. We focus solely on privately held companies primarily. We do some stuff with publicly traded in our equipment finance piece, but we focus on that commercial piece. We do a really good job of helping our clients be successful, mitigate risk, address fraud, and just we do a good job educating folks so that they stay abreast of all of the things that they need to be looking at in the industry right now.
so faith based, franchise, equipment leasing, commercial only. Is there anything else that sets Cass apart from a typical bank and maybe how we use it across our company as a whole?
At Cash, you'll never call a 1-800 number with the bank. Everything is a direct line answered by a person. There may be a time when you'll get a voicemail, but dialing into our customer service center, you're going to speak to a person. We have a white glove model. We take very good care of the folks who are clients with us, whether they are deposit only clients or lease clients or franchise clients or faith-based clients. Everybody gets a level of service that they have commented they don't get anywhere else and never have gotten anywhere else.
And I know that equipment financing is definitely something that we wanted to talk about today because Cass Information Systems, is a publicly traded company, and we have the Cass Bank subsidiary. And one of the things that we talk about when we're selling the facilities, bill payment, utility bill payment, waste, MRO, transportation, freight, audit, and payments, when we talk about those things, we always talk about how it's important for us to recognize and call out that we do have a bank and that we are regulated based off of that financial stringent rules, and we're audited and we have auditors. So making the payments is a very critical part of what we do on the CIS side. What is it that you feel like the bank, what you have to go through, that you are held to the same standards and a higher standard that allows us to go to our clients and tell them comfortably, trust us with your money, trust us in making the payments?
Great point, Teresa. So because Cass is a commercial bank, a bank, and CIS, Cass Information Systems, is our holding company, they are subject to the same regulations that the bank is. Every process, every invoice paid, every payment made through the bank, all of it is highly scrutinized by regulators every year. We get audited not only by two different accounting firms, but we also get looked at by the Federal Reserve, FDIC, the state bank examiners, just to make sure that everything is on the up and up and that we are meeting the highest level of financial standards that we can. Cass Commercial Bank is a highly rated bank, and by association, then the holding company and all of its other subsidiaries are also highly rated institutions. When you're dealing with Cass Information Systems, because of that high level of regulation, everything is handled above board and very well. And all of our processes have been scrutinized to the nth degree to make sure that all the money flows the right direction, all the money flows to known entities. All banks are regulated like this, but not all invoice payment companies are regulated like this. Many of them are fintechs or something even less than a fintech, and they have to rely on somebody else to make those payments. They're not making them on through the same company.
We have several types of clients, whether it be retail, restaurant, property management companies, P&E firms that have a bunch of, companies underneath them that really want those expenses managed. We have manufacturers, car manufacturers, we make payments globally. And so on the client side, we have the stringent financial regulations that we're held under so they can, trust us with the money that we're taking from them in order to pay bills on their behalf. But we can offer them, equipment leasing and financing on the commercial side, equipment leasing in order to help grow their business and support it. But not just that, we also can go to the vendors that we pay, whether it be waste haulers that need to buy a new truck or, on the transportation side, someone needs to buy a new cab or a trailer. I mean, there's a lot of equipment that goes across our clients and our vendors in CIS. So that's kind of why we wanted to stop and talk about equipment financing today and how that can be brought to either our clients or the suppliers that we're paying on behalf of our clients.
Our equipment finance program is collateral agnostic. We don't care if it's a tractor or a trailer or a generator or a garbage truck or, frankly, computers and cell phones. We really will look at anything, and if they make sense, we'll move forward with it. Obviously, we have some financial requirements that people need to meet and show some financial wherewithal. But when we get down to it, our goal is to help our clients grow, and many of them, especially in the industries that you guys serve on the invoice payment side, need capital. They need equipment. They need those assets to grow, and so the equipment finance program is one avenue to put those assets to work for those clients.
And it would work like a typical bank where you go to get equipment financing, leasing where you want to go buy something, but you lease to own per se. So what does that look like?
There's several different kinds of leases and several different ways they can be set up. Some of them are leased to a dollar buyout or a zero buyout, where at the end the client owns it. There are other leases where there's a residual amount, and you pay for the part you use, and then you turn it back in, and we dispose of it, and you replenish with a new asset. It really depends on just sometimes how hard those assets are used
Mm.
and whether, let's take a trucking company, for example. Sometimes trucking companies don't want a truck on the road that's more than, say, 5 years old. That may not be realistic, but let's use 5 years. And they want to replace it because at that point it's getting up in miles, it is getting to be more maintenance, and they want to replenish the fleet and maintain a newer fleet. So this allows them to pay effectively rent on the portion of the fleet that they would use, and then we would take that back and sell it in the aftermarket or lease it to somebody else, and do the next transaction for the original company.
You mentioned it earlier is that you still have to go through the process, right? You have to provide financials, you have to provide who you're buying the equipment from, like what the program is. And then at that point, are you able to help guide the conversation to say, okay, based off of what you shared with us, these are things that we can offer you or that we recommend?
Oh, absolutely. And we have lots of avenues for financing equipment. I mean, equipment finance is one avenue, traditional loans are another. Most of the folks that you deal with are in the world of leasing equipment because they turn it over so often. Many times they don't want to put anything down. Some companies like to lease because they have no use for the additional depreciation because of tax laws. When we look at a package and get the financials and do our analysis, we'll make some recommendations. Obviously, the client is going to come to us with this is how we've done it in the past. And in many cases, that may be exactly what we put in front of them, but we may come up with something that they haven't thought of yet.
Gotcha. And they would still be working with that dedicated team that you mentioned where, when they call the 1-800 number, somebody picks up the phone and
Oh, the
answers
1
and
800 number at Cass,
oh, no.
not at
Okay.
Cass Commercial Bank, no 1 800 number.
No
Um,
1-800 number.
no, we would put them in direct contact with one of our lease professionals, and that person would handle it through the entire process.
What are some of the just standard leasing options? Is it, you know, 5-year, 10-year, 20-year? Does it matter the dollar amount? What are some of those things that they need to think through?
The dollar amount doesn't really matter as to what the maturity of the lease is. It's more on the one, client preferences is part of it, but two, the longevity of or useful life of the asset. So, for instance, you might do a truck over 5 years, you might do a trailer over 7 years because the expected useful life of that trailer is longer. We probably wouldn't do cell phones and servers more than 3 or 4 years. Might get out to 5 years, 60 months, just because cell phones in particular, they don't have that long a useful life. People want the newest and best all the time, and frankly, they get broken and scratched and dropped, and sometimes don't look great anymore. And people want to make sure that they can get the newest.
Well, if they're anything like my kids, every year they try to get a new phone. It's like one of the things where they talk about you drive a car off the lot and it's like it's lost. It's if it's brand new, you've lost the value the minute you put it out on the road, kind of thing. So
Well, that goes for a lot of the assets that we finance as well. But you have to remember that unlike a car that you are driving, it's not an income producing asset. Whereas a company, when they take a new truck and a new trailer, hopefully they're putting it to work right away. And so, yes, it still takes a hit on depreciation, but it hopefully impacts the company in a positive way by improving revenue.
if someone is interested in learning about this, then they can reach out to us and we'll provide obviously our website and contact information. But they reach out to us and then we can get them in contact with your team and then have a discussion. Is there anything that I didn't ask you that you think is important to share?
The experience dealing with Cass Commercial Bank is unlike any bank you've ever dealt with. I know that's just words right now to all the folks listening, but give us a chance. You'll really see where we can shine. And utilizing the bank and utilizing Cass information systems on a combined basis, there are some efficiencies gained there. So I would encourage anybody hearing this to, if they're not already a Cass client on the Cass information side, reach out, have a conversation. Let us see what we can do.
Well, I really appreciate your time today and I appreciate the information. And we look forward to sharing some additional things that Cass Bank brings to CIS and to our clients and vendors and haulers.
Great. Thanks, Teresa.
Thanks for listening to Cass Connects. We hope today's conversation gave you valuable insights and ideas you can put into action. Visit www.cassinfo.com or email us at connectwithcass@cassinfo.com. Be sure to subscribe so you never miss an episode. And if you enjoyed the show, please leave a rating and share it with your colleagues. Until next time, thanks for joining us on Cass Connects. Unlock more. Connect with Cass.